Welcome to ECCB Connects, a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank designed to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. On this, the final episode of Season 22 of ECCB Connects, we discuss a new investment opportunity for citizens and residents of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union in the form of the UTC Global Balanced Fund. Do stay connected with us. We'll give you more details when we get back.
Celebrating ECCB at 40.
Did you know that the $50 banknotes were put into circulation in October 1993 to mark the 10th anniversary of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank? Now you know, celebrating ECCB at 40.
Welcome back. Did you know that only 1 in 25 persons in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union invests in the Eastern Caribbean securities market? That compares to 1 in 3 persons in the United States who participate in the US stock market. It means then that persons in our region have yet to maximize the potential that investing can create. One such investment opportunity is the UTC Global Balanced Fund. In this episode, I speak with Sekou Mark, Chief Investment Officer at Trinidad and Tobago Unit Trust Corporation, and Omar Burt-Smith, the Regional Collective Investment Scheme Manager at Unit Trust Corporation Fund Management Services, about the UTC Global Balanced Fund. They give us the details about how you can access international financial markets starting with just $100 US. Let's take a look at the discussion. Gentlemen, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're representing Unit Trust Corporation Global Balance Fund, which provides citizens and residents of the ECCU with a new investment opportunity. Now, if you'd give us an overview of what the Global Balance Fund is.
Okay, thank you, Karina. Thank you for having us. Good morning. The UTC Global Balance Fund is the first retail mutual fund to be launched in the OECS. And it's a very proud moment for the Trust Corporation as well as for the citizens of the ECCU. Simply put, a mutual fund is a vehicle or an entity that pools investors' monies together and invests in different asset classes like stocks and bonds, allowing them to own a stake in those companies and to benefit from the returns. In the 22-year history of the capital markets in the ECCU, a product like this has never existed. And while there is a thriving Eastern Caribbean securities market with 14 listed securities on the equity exchange and quite a few fixed income instruments trading in the market, this type of investment vehicle really provides an opportunity for the everyday man on the street to invest. So the mutual fund is really beneficial because it allows people who don't necessarily have the investment background, who have the investment knowledge, to become owners in some of those large companies and benefit from the returns on those investments.
Omar, explain to us, how is the Global Balance Fund an Eastern Caribbean fund?
The UTC Global Balance Fund is an investment company registered in St. Lucia. And one of the beautiful things about our underlying legislation that governs collective investment schemes and mutual funds is that it really promotes transparency and independence. So what does that mean? GBFL, the mutual fund, cannot manage itself. It must utilize the services of a fund management company. The fund management company for GBFL is UTC Fund Management Services STL Limited, which is a St. Lucian company. That's the company I lead, supported by 2 staff members who are ECCU nationals. The fund requires an independent custodian. The independent custodian holds all the assets of the fund, including cash, stocks, bonds. All our assets are held in custody by the custodian. You'll be happy to know that the custodian is the Eastern Caribbean Central Securities Depository, ECCSD, located right there in St. Kitts. Our regulator, the entity who granted us the license, is the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, also domiciled in St. Kitts. As mentioned, the fund will be sold by licensed broker-dealers There are 6 in the ECCU right now. They cover 4 territories: St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent. Our hope is that a few more entities receive a broker-dealer license in the future so that they can also distribute the fund. Our investment advisors are company registered in St. Kitts and in St. Lucia, and they provide coverage. They are licensed to provide investment advisory services throughout the ECCU. So we really brought all these parties together and created an ecosystem in the Eastern Caribbean, and we're very excited that it will bear fruit and it will yield the sort of benefit that we anticipate that it will.
And the people of the ECCU can feel proud that this whole entity, this ecosystem is homegrown. It's coming from the Eastern Caribbean.
Yes, we are certain that they can and will feel proud. We are certainly proud.
Now, why did UTC think it important to introduce this type of opportunity, this investment opportunity to the Eastern Caribbean?
Well, thank you so much, Karina, and thank you for having us. The Unit Trust Corporation was actually founded in 1982 in Trinidad and Tobago, and it had a dual mandate. The first mandate it had was to really democratize shareholding. What does that mean? It meant that in 1982, although we had a nascent stock market, only very wealthy people and large corporations had the ability to own shares. What the Unit Trust Corporation did when it was built, it was able to take, as Omar mentioned, to pool the investors, to pool small amounts of money from a lot of investors so that they too can invest in the stock market. So one of the things that we do is we have democratized shareholding, where regular people, taxi drivers, market vendors, nurses, teachers, also have the ability to invest in the stock market globally. The second thing that why it's important is that as Caribbean citizens, it's really important for us to build our own space. You know, we've heard so much about de-risking and other things where we have international banks leaving the region. And it's important that we as Caribbean nationals build our own region. And we're really excited to be working along with actors such as the ECSRC, which is the commission that regulates mutual funds, the ECCSD, who's our custodian, the broker-dealers from across the region, and others like the ECCB, to bring, as Omar again mentioned, the very first retail mutual fund in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, and something that is going to help people generate intergenerational wealth for them and their families.
Now, as you've said, we have the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange already with companies that persons can invest in. How does the Global Balance Fund differ in terms of the types of companies that it allows the shareholders or those potential investors to actually connect with?
Global Balance Fund, in the name itself, speaks to our reach and where we intend to go with those proceeds. So currently, as you mentioned, in the ECCU, the equities are only listed on the ECSC, and it does provide a solid means for our entities and our companies in the region and our governments to raise the necessary capital. But it doesn't necessarily increase the breadth and the length that investors have in terms of the reach that they can really get exposure to. So the Global Balance Fund will look at regional assets, of course, but we will also look at assets on international markets in the US, in Europe. We will look at corporate bonds of some of the largest companies in the world, again, North America, Europe, as far as Asia. And it really gives the ability to diversify your investment portfolio, to really minimize your risk exposure in as many areas through diversification. You know, Karina, as the saying goes, you don't want to put your eggs all in one basket, right? And diversification in investments is very important. And a mutual fund is the quintessential way you can go about diversifying that portfolio and really increasing the number of eggs you have in that basket through a very seamless way. So that's really the benefit that it brings. That's really what we tend to do. So it's really very simple to invest while being able to have that diversification that ordinarily you require the access and the expertise to navigate.
So if I'm a regular citizen, I'm a person, I have, substantial savings in the bank, What would you say to somebody who has this money sitting around? Why should they think about joining or investing with the Global Balance Fund?
That's a great question. The first thing I would say is that we're not here to compete with the banks. I think that the minimum savings rate and the banks have done an excellent job over the past number of decades in marshalling savings and redistributing funds. But what we're saying here is that use some of that money and redirect it towards investment. There's a difference between saving and investment. So what you do at the bank with a savings account, as the name implies, is saving. So one can save, and it's great to save. However, in order to take your investment potential to the next level, you need to also invest. Not just save, but invest. And investing means availing yourself of the capital markets, being able to buy an ownership share in the things you use every day, your Apple phone. You may drive a Toyota. You may. So all the things that we use on a daily basis, as opposed to just being consumers, can you become an owner? So you can do that through the mutual funds, as opposed to being on your own, $100, $200. You wonder, how do I do this on my own? If you pool your funds with 100,000 other people, you can be an owner of Apple, you can be an owner of Samsung, or you can be an owner of Google. And that's what we're trying to say. So we're saying, if you save money every month at the bank, don't move all. Take some of it, keep it at the bank in a savings account where you save, and also invest by placing some of the UTC Global Balance Fund.
So this sounds very exciting that, like you said, I have an Apple phone, I have a Samsung phone, I could actually become part owner and, make my money work for me. So let's talk about the mechanics now of the fund. How does somebody get investing and operational in the Global Balance Fund?
So the Global Balance Fund is a registered security licensed by the ECSRC. All registered and licensed securities in the ECCU are sold by broker-dealers. At present, there are 6 broker-dealers in the region. All one has to do is open up a brokerage account and complete the GBFL onboarding suite. It's very similar to opening a banking account. Your regular forms of ID, proof of income, proof of address. And once you've completed the onboarding process, you will liaise with your broker and you'll be able to purchase shares. The minimum to start is only USD $100. The equivalent is about $270. And minimum contributions thereafter are $20, $20 US dollars, right? How does this compare to the existing capital market landscape? Most available options right now require a minimum of PC 5,000. So this is radically lower, and it really provides access to the everyday man that doesn't exist at present.
So you're telling us that with 100 US, I could come in and start investing, become a shareholder in some of these companies. It's literally that simple.
Literally that simple, yes.
That's correct.
That's amazing.
You have the ability to purchase at any time and at any amount. It's just that the minimum is $20. There's no monthly requirement. There's no weekly or annual requirement. You can purchase at will. It's all dependent on what your goals are and what your desires are.
It's also important to add that you may also redeem at any time,
yes.
Right? The shares of the company are quite liquid. So to the extent that you want to come in and leave, come in today and check next week and come out, that's fine. All you need to do is to, again, visit your broker-dealer, which again, Omar would have mentioned is that there's 6 broker-dealers across the ECCU. Fill out your renunciation form or redemption form, and it will be processed within 3 working days. So again, you have your capital is fully available to you, but all we're trying to do is we're trying to pool, to use our size, not against us, but for us, because separated we're small, but together we're very large and powerful, and together we can have a wonderfully working mutual fund.
Because we have, over the years, we've known that people have interest in investing, but then there are certain limitations, including just the capital requirement, just for getting started. And then there are companies overseas that, because of our location and nationalities, we would not have been able to access. So having this vehicle, as we said, where you can tap into, it makes it much more seamless for us. So, gentlemen, as we close, I just would like again for you to underscore why investment is so important for us as a region.
I think one of the, and Sekou made the distinction earlier, and it must be said, and we have to be complimented for our strong savings culture. I mean, over the years, the union has been in existence now for over 40 years. We've amassed almost $25 billion in savings, and through savings we've been able to develop our economies. But investing is really when you go to the next level. It really allows individual families, individual companies to really start to build on that savings culture and really start to create wealth, and not just wealth for themselves, but intergenerational wealth that can span decades. That's when we truly see the potential of our region realize. Those who have benefited from the capital markets can speak to how effective it has been in living out their goals, whether it be something as simple as planning a wedding or getting their home, or really going to that next level. So if the governor of the central bank, Governor Antoine, he says this all the time, 2 in 5 people are invested in the US stock market. In the OECS, it's 1 in 25. And what that means is that 24 out of 25 people are really missing out on the opportunities to build generational wealth. So that's why we believe now is the right time for everybody to get into the market and start building on that savings culture that we've had for all those years.
Yeah, if I may as well, I just want to underscore as we close, there are 5 key benefits, not just personally, but for the entire OECS, for the entire ECCU. The first one is market diversification. The UTC GBFL is going to allow people to diversify their investment options. So no longer do you just have a savings account or just have a checking account, but now you also have a brokerage account with an investment account, which is your mutual fund. Second is capacity building. The Eastern Caribbean securities market is still in a very nascent stage. So there are, as Omar mentioned, 14 listed securities. There are a number of fixed income products, but the man on the street still generally is not quite there in terms of his knowledge base. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build capacity. How do you build capacity? We build capacity by doing these things, by working together, coming together to build our own bespoke products. The UTC Global Balance Fund Limited will help build capacity because what we are doing is essentially what we're doing right now, getting information out there, teaching people, bringing people along to ensure that as we go along, our children will know more than we know. And as such, we're going to teach them how to be savvy investors. The third is investment literacy. Again, one thing that we have to do is ensure that people are investment literate, right? Now, there's a difference between literacy and financial literacy. Literacy is ability to read and write. Financial literacy is ability to make money work for you.
Correct.
Right? So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build financial literacy, to build investment literacy, and ECCB Connects is the perfect place for that because I know you all focus a lot on financial literacy. So thank you for having us. 2 final things. One is wealth creation. It is very important for us to build wealth, particularly intergenerational wealth. It's very difficult to build intergenerational wealth by just having a savings account. So that in the investment account, the mutual fund allows you to participate as an owner in some of the biggest companies in the world, and that will help you to build and generate wealth. And lastly, job creation for securities professionals. The GBFL is going to create a whole new world in the OECS, a whole new world. In 1982, there was one mutual fund in Trinidad and Tobago that was UTC. Now there are about 75, right? The number of securities professionals, we're talking about people with brokerage licenses, investment advisors, securities professionals, will grow as the market grows. So again, we're also looking, we're hoping to provide really well-paying jobs at GBFL and at the broker dealers for young, up-and-coming, and even not so young people who are financially minded and willing to work in the securities industry. So again, market diversification, capacity building, investment literacy, wealth creation, and job creation. And those 5 items is what UTC GBFL will bring to the OECS.
Omar, Sekou, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's been a pleasure discussing this new opportunity that the Global Balance Fund will present for the people of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Celebrating ECCB at 40.
Did you know that the ECCB is one of 4 multi-country central banks in the world? The others are the Bank of Central African States, Central Bank Curaçao and Saint Martin, and the European Central Bank. Now you know. Celebrating ECCB at 40.
At the end of this episode and season 22 of ECCB Connects. On today's program, we spoke with Sekou Mark and Omar Bird-Smith about the UTC Global Balance Fund, a new investment opportunity for citizens and residents of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. We learned that the Global Balance Fund is a mutual investment fund that allows persons in the region to access international financial markets. You need only a minimum of US $100 to begin investing. You should contact a licensed broker-dealer in the ECCU to get started. We also learned that investing provides the opportunity to build financial resilience and create generational wealth. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to stay connected with us while we're on break. We also invite you to take a look at our youth-focused program, Youth Express, coming to you this August with a focus on youth in government. Join us in September when we bring you new and exciting episodes of ECCB Connects to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you.